Hello, lovely listener. Welcome back to Calling in Clarity on the Step into Love Substack publication. I am Sophia Leitner-Hubert, and today I'm talking with Debra Ann Mumm, who is a speaker and an author. Debra is the author and creator of Authentic Reset, a transformational framework that helps people remember who they are beneath the noise of conditioning and fear. Through her work as a speaker, writer, and creator, she guides others to reconnect with their authentic power and the inner clarity that arises when we stop performing and start being. Deb, thank you so much for talking with me about clarity today. How are you?
Good. I'm so excited to be here. I mean, I love the topic and the work that you're doing, and it's wonderful to be with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I know you had mentioned, I'd love to hear what you were saying again about what resonates with you specifically about the terms like calling in clarity. You kind of like that, the terms that I picked, right?
Well, yeah, for me, I love that you call it that because it's not, unless something like happens to you that's significant, um, you have to ask, calling in clarity. It doesn't just like come to you when you're busy going through your routines and doing all the things. It has a hard time actually coming in clear when you're not asking. You have to ask.
Yeah, this is
You have
all
to call
about
it in.
exactly ask and receive, but like opening and stillness and silence is when the clarity comes in often for me. So I agree with you, like calling and then listening, basically. It is
Yeah.
such an important piece of it, not just kind of seeking without clear intention to receive, basically. And I'd love to hear more about your mission and your work and how you came to it, especially certain like little clarity points that came along your journey where maybe you had like what's it called? Like points where you pivoted or shifted. I'd love to hear about that and your work now.
So my whole adult life I have spent in the arts in the Coachella Valley, up until the past couple years where I've transitioned away from everything that I've done, and I've started writing this book. And they say, you write the book that you most need to read, so maybe that's part of it. But um, I started doing Artist Way courses, and I have a great knack for getting people to take risk. It starts with the arts, and really, I was just in a place where I needed to do something different, and um, talk about calling in clarity. This work is something that's really been my whole life, and I didn't know
Yeah, it's been on your heart.
for sure.
The authentic reset work of like,
Well, so with arts, my job is to get you to make your art, not somebody else's. I have a certain disdain for academia in this sense that it's not like a sausage factory, right? You have to let it be. And, even we get so judgmental because we look at that other person's art. We're like, oh, I want my thing to be like that instead of letting it be what it is and letting your expression come through you. And then I discovered, doing counseling and or coaching is that I have a good knack for getting people to take risk, which is exactly what is needed for growth in any area, to put down those things that you're telling yourself that aren't true.
yeah, I love that. And creative risks, art is like a safe place to take those creative risks, right? So people feel empowered in that. Uh,
Right.
yeah,
And
not
and
like telling them
also
to
like
scale a wall or something.
no, like art is um I love that I never really thought of it that way, but that is a safer place than your life. I like to take risks, right? On a piece of paper or whatever, and people still have a problem doing that. So this is sort of pivoted to taking more risks with your life and your decisions and your choices that is based on your soul. So reset is an acronym.
Ooh.
I know, and I think it's what's needed in the world right now where I mean, you're calling in clarity and love and all this stuff, and this is exactly the thing. So it's remembering who we are,
Mm.
right? Remember is R, and then envision, because if you don't envision a future or have goals or things that are beyond your current capabilities, then you're kind of stagnant or,
Not dreaming big. Yeah.
not dreaming big, then you're not going to go anywhere, right? And then seeking the truth beneath all the things. And I think this is one of the hardest parts because like 70% of our negative thinking is in our subconscious and it goes undetected by us. And certainly there's certain things that we don't want to have to relearn all the time, like how to open the door or practical things like that. But those things that get embedded that tell us that we can't or we shouldn't, they're not always right. A lot of times they're wrong. And then express it out loud. Um,
Love that.
do the things, take the action because also nothing happens without action, and then trust the process of all of it. So it's kind of like, I help you fashion your own gentle wake up call to peel off the layers.
I love that. I love that framework. You put it together so perfectly because with those reset, like remember, embody, what was the S again?
Remember, envision, seek, express,
Seek,
and trust.
express, and trust. I love that. My friends and family know too, like I'm very expressive, which is why I speak and write so much, but also like trusting and giving it up to God and just being like, I know things will work out. That's such an important point to end on. So I love that whole framework that you've set up and remembering who we are and yeah, seeking clarity, seeking the truth. I love that. Um, wow,
I think it covers it, right?
yeah,
I
it
don't
feels like
know.
it pretty much covers a lot of the things that I believe are so necessary for like the co-creation process. And like you're saying, being authentically yourself in your authentic power, embodying your truth and co-creating the positive change you want to see in the world. And I love that we're aligned on our mission for that, because that definitely resonates with my mission with Step Into Love being about embodiment and teaching people how to like embody these states of love and just always returning back to internal guidance and alignment and trusting that when you align your heart and then your actions with your intentions, like, and then trust things will work out. And so that's why I think that the calling and clarity piece of it is really important right now, especially as we go into like winter in the Northern Hemisphere and the colder months. And people are thinking of the end of the year and maybe getting like a sense of the Sunday scaries with the end of 2025 approaching. But there's so much hopefulness and like hope and positive outlook I want to share. And I know other leaders like you also want to share about we always can have this embodied sense of authentic power, and love is everywhere for us to tap into, and clarity is also like there everywhere. We just need to like open to receive it. So I think it's a very important topic for right now. And on that note, for you specifically, how do you receive clarity? And do you feel it a certain way, like in your body or in your mind? How does it resonate with your spirit?
Well, I think, to speak to what you were saying earlier, it's like you need some quiet space, right, in your life to ask and allow. There's this preacher lady, Terry Savelle, and she says, prayer is asking God for what you want, and meditation is listening for the answer.
Love.
And I think, yeah, so it's, call it in and then make space to receive it. So for me, I journal every day. in the mornings typically before I'm even really awake. And by the time I'm done, I've had a couple cups of coffee. And
You do those morning pages from
well, yeah,
beginning
I
to
find I find for me it's I've been doing it for 20 something years, and uh I think that it's better for me in the morning than at night. I don't know. I'm more tuned into listening at that
yeah, you feel
time,
more clear, quiet.
more clear and quiet before all this, all this
Yeah.
stuff starts happening. But like I do get body sensations sometimes where, I'll feel like something happening in third eye area, or just like sort of your energy opening up. And I don't know how to explain it exactly, but it is a feeling.
Yeah.
And then I know I need to listen
Yeah.
when that feeling comes. Oh, okay, this is good, right?
I love that. Exactly. I love morning pages too. Um, and so then you write your thing down that you received and you check it off your to-do list because that's what I do. I'm like, write it down and I'll have to cross it out later. Or yeah.
That's funny. No, I don't really have a to-do list in that way, but that would be not, I mean, that sounds ultra organized. Yeah, no, I just like it's nice to capture those things and know that and sometimes it's just like, when it's so good that you're like, oh, I'm putting the pages down and I'm gonna go do this thing immediately while it's hot and fresh.
Totally. I think that's a wonderful way. I think there's probably many quotes, none of which are coming to mind with me right now, but about like taking the action as it's given to you, basically, if possible, or like
Yeah.
very quickly acting upon the guidance
There's
that's given.
Elizabeth Gilbert in Big Magic. She talks about your thing, like your passion, like you have to treat it like your hot lover and you make time for it. And 3 minutes in the closet in the middle of the night, like whatever it takes, it's like you show up for it that way. So
That's cute. I love that. That's wonderful. I love it. Okay, so good. Anything else that you want to share about receiving clarity before I move into my last question?
just that, for me, it's also hiking. It's being in nature. So morning, I'm doing the riding, and then hiking, I'm like, um, just allowing things and to be present. Like nature has been a big thing for me, and I think it's really, it's scientifically proven to be helpful for people. Like your house plant that you care for can detect you from 2 kilometers away. So imagine what the things that are not living in a pot in your house, like nature knows you, you
Oh,
know.
it's so sweet. I know. I love all that science when I hear it. And Karen Richter and I talked about being in touch with nature a lot in the first podcast episode on this topic. And I'm with you. I think being in nature is so obviously natural, healthy for us. There's science about like standing under the trees just for a few minutes, like makes us happier. And I believe it also makes the trees happy when we connect with them.
For sure.
And I have tree friends here in the neighborhood, and I'm telling you, when I came back from New York, I was just so grateful to like, and I liked being in New York and being with all those leaders that we met at the Women Starting Movements conference. When I came home, I was just flooded with so much gratitude to like be in my home, my bed, and my husband, and my pillowcase, and all this. And then I went outside and I saw the trees, and it was like the last drop of water that opened the floodgates. And I was like, I'm just so grateful for my neighborhood trees. Like they made me cry. And it's very, very sweet to be out in nature and be like in tune with just kind of the more natural order of things and let the busy mind kind of float away a bit. And that really is when a lot of the calm and clarity comes through for me as well. But I thought that was a cute story about how the trees made me cry.
Oh, I was speaking with my coach about it, like it's so noisy and like people get used to it, right? But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's good for you.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you went to Central Park
Mhm.
or the High Line or any of that stuff, but I mean, the trees matter.
Totally. I know.
They
I
make
was like,
people.
I'm so grateful to live near trees, and I always want to live with them. So it's very sweet. Kind of a tangent, but I love it. And being in nature is so important, um, every day or in any way that we can. And when I was, in New York and didn't see the trees every day or wasn't in nature every day, I was very much like headphones in or healing frequencies, music, like you're saying, because the noise does do something. At least for me, I might be a more sensitive person.
No,
Um,
I feel you on that. It's a lot. There's a lot going on, and it's a lot of different energies. And I feel like, it's also, I think it's really easy, especially in the city life, to get caught up in the rat race or,
hustle, hustle, bustle, yeah.
yeah, all the things. And then I feel like it's even easier to forget who you are, because there's so many, different roles that you play in that kind of environment.
Yeah. And that's where the power of choice comes in and is so important. That's why I was flooded with gratitude that I was like, I'm so grateful that the choices I've made have like led me here to living where I live now, which I love so much. And I feel like I belong to it as much as it belongs to me. Like, it's just, I'm grateful that I've been guided to this point. And while in New York too, it's like the choice in the morning of doing my EFT tapping when I felt like I needed to do it at any point and um, taking those extra deep breaths and taking a moment to meditate. And I do this little thing where I kind of create a portal in my hands and I'm like, release what no longer serves, and then step into my dream life through this little mini portal. And that's what I want to teach people a lot in this kind of the stepping into love movement is that whenever you feel like you need to change energy states, you can make that choice and follow with a little action, like a ritual like that really helps me to, cement it in my mind. And then I've done this movement and I feel back aligned right then and there. Um, so I love that. And that brings me to, my last question about making choices. And how do you step into love? Like, what's your favorite way to kind of realign with love, or clarity, whichever you want to speak about?
Yeah, so in my room, I have this cool piece of graffiti art and it says love versus fear,
Sweet.
right? So it's one of those things to remember. But stepping into love is like into yourself, right? So I'll ask people often, like, and think of somebody that you would do anything for.
Hmm.
And it is very uncommon for it to be you.
Hmm.
So when I feel like there is a big calling to step into love for ourselves because it's often so externalized
Hmm.
and it's really more becoming love
Yeah.
yourself, right? Um, and not like, I love my dog, I love my husband, whatever it is, but what about you in that? Where do you put yourself? So stepping into love for me is like stepping into your love and loving all of your parts, or at least accepting them, right?
Yes,
Having a good relationship, well, like with yourself, starts first.
that is great. I love that. I don't know like where it originated, but I see these sorts of similar thing on Instagram where it'll be like, would you talk to your best friend that way, And
Right.
stepping into like acting like you're your own best friend. And I think that is so important for self-love and self-care. And like you said, like who would you do anything for? Like your daughter, your family member, and then act like that person. You would also do anything for yourself. I think that's so important. And something I've written about on this platform a lot, and I think I need to do maybe more like videos or topics about it, is the concept of filling your own cup first so that you can give and overflow in abundance. Because I think it's, even healthier, and it's when you're when people are giving, let's say for example, like a mother just giving everything to her kids, but not really giving enough to herself, that feels like a leaky cup energy to me, versus like taking care of herself, filling her own cup, and then having overflow of generosity. That's just an example. But speaking to what you said about like loving yourself first and then loving others better, I think that's the vision that I have for this Step into Love movement.
I love that. And I think another thing that, people get confused is with like validation, right? So they do stuff and they perform to get validated or to get that reward or to feel love when it doesn't really come from any of those places,
Yeah, like you're saying, it comes from yourself and inside. And
right? But validation is a big deal,
hmm
I think. And it's too bad, I've seen people just give up their heart for something that's outside of themselves. Play small. Oh, no. So that's why the work, right? That's why to lead people to love, to clarity, to
definitely.
all of those things.
When that happens, how do you help them reclaim and basically realign with, or yeah, like reclaim their heart? Because I know that's some real healing work. I was taught to like feel my heart and really listen and like tap into the feelings and all that as a way of like realigning with my true desires.
Feelings are uncomfortable for a lot of people. That's part of the avoidance, right? That's why we do the other things. Seeking pleasure instead of meaning in the things that you do. So I don't remember what the question was, but I think that it's just we have to be honest with ourselves and
Mhm.
be okay with that. And that's a hard learned thing sometimes.
Yeah. Well, you answered it. Thank you. The question was, you had said like you've seen people kind of neglect or give away their hearts in the name of something. And basically, I think what happens and what we see happen is that runs out, or there's kind of like a rock bottom is hit, and then people have to pivot back to listening to their heart, and
Right.
receiving healing and guidance for that.
You don't have to hit bottom, you can start taking steps now to be your own best friend and to honor yourself. We're so used to like throwing ourselves under the bus, right? And for whatever other thing. And that's not how if we're not having connection with ourselves, this is like part two of the work, kind of like what Suzanne Roberts is all about, right? If we're not totally connecting to ourselves, then we are also not connecting to each other.
Mm, so true. Beautifully said. Well, I think there's some beautiful clarity and major takeaways that came from this conversation, especially about, you know, stillness, quiet, being in nature for clarity, and then um, aligning with your heart and being your own best friend and speaking well to yourself, and being connected with yourself and like standing in your authenticity, because that's the source of your power as your work demonstrates. And you help people to find that authentic power. So thank you so much, Deborah. I'm so grateful for the work that you're doing in the world and grateful that our missions are aligned, even if we use like slightly different language for it. I'm just so grateful to have you as a friend and to know you and know that you're out doing this wonderful work. So thank you so much.
Oh, right back at you, Sophia, my elevator buddy.
I know that was so fun. We were in New York. We were in the elevator like 10 times together. Like it didn't happen
Even
to
at a
anyone else.
different building. When we were at Carol's building, we were in the elevator
Yes,
together too. It was so crazy. Anyway,
that was so
going
fun.
up.
Yes, going up, going up. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's I really enjoy speaking with you.